I'm going to introduce myself in just a second, but for those that maybe got here in another way or weren't exactly sure what we're going to be talking about, I will be talking about the New Energy New York ecosystem that we have built at Binghamton University over the past 3 years that has been funded by federal and state funds. And in this ecosystem, we are supporting startups and advanced manufacturing. And so we'll talk a little bit more about who we are through New Energy New York. And we are also a tech hub, federally designated tech hub for batteries. We'll speak a little bit more about that today. Right. So again, my name is Emily Marino. I am the Deputy Director for New Energy New York, which was funded out of the Build Back Better Regional Challenge initiative under the federal government about 3 years ago. We are located out of the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation Partnerships at Binghamton University. And we are going to go into a little bit about who New Energy New York is, our general ecosystem for battery energy storage, and kind of how we got here. So back in September of 2022, New Energy New York, Binghamton University won the Economic Development Administration's Build Back Better Regional Challenge with support from New York State. So with that funding, we were able to access $113 million between the federal and state funding. And then we were able to use that funding to launch the New Energy New York Coalition with the initial programs in the fall of 22 and spring of 2023. We'll talk a little bit more about those programs and what the benefits are for startups and manufacturers through those programs. So we take that funding and essentially utilize it to run programs and distribute it to those in the value chain. And then in October 2023, New Energy New York expanded partners, and the region is now designated as America's battery tech hub. So that happened in 23. And then in January of 2024, the ecosystem expanded with the inaugural National Science Foundation Regional Innovation Engines Award. So Binghamton University also received the NSF Regional Innovations Engines Award. And in June of 2024, the NSF Energy Storage Engine in Upstate New York launched programs and expanded the team. So that's another large amount of funding that companies and startups can access when being in this ecosystem, and is also supported through Binghamton University. And there is the potential for $160 million in follow-on funding for that particular award. And then in December 2024, the Battery Tech Hub Consortium Accelerator Award was given to further identify and scale up partnerships under the Tech Hub designation. And as of today, between New Energy New York and the NSF Energy Storage Engine, we are running 26 programs and 40 plus projects that help industry and battery startups, battery energy storage startups. I think there was some questions in the chat. I'm just going to come back to the chat at the end. So if you have a time-sensitive question, you can raise your hand, but otherwise I'm going to keep moving forward. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the foundations of New Energy New York. We are really focused on TRL levels 1 through 5, so early stage. We are looking to move more into TRL levels 6 through 9 through the tech hubs work that we're doing, but this is kind of the foundational pillars and partners. So through that scope of work and grant that we proposed and were awarded under, we focused on 5 main things, which was community engagement. So really that entrepreneurship, networking opportunities, the wraparound services to make this a better place to live, work, and play, to further flesh out the ecosystem. Workforce development, so the training programs, K-12 to industry, and we'll talk a little bit more about those programs later on. Entrepreneurship and innovation, so this is really the startups, technology commercialization, and the support through that pillar. Supply chain development, so database, supplier qualifications, and company attraction, making this a great place to be able to do work in the New York State region, in Upstate New York. And we also are working on building Battery New York, which is going to be a testing and certification infrastructure in Binghamton. And doors will open in Q4 2026. So that's really the foundational pieces and pillars of New Energy New York, as well as the programs. So the program impacts to date. So over the past 3 years, we have been able to engage with over 30 industry partners. We have awarded $113 million in stipends to college students who are working with startups. And I'll talk a little bit more about that program in the upcoming slides. 700 plus companies have been engaged with through our services and our programs. 93 new businesses formed as a result of the New Energy New York programs and assistance. And we have been able to train in our workforce development programs over 3,800 enrollees. Investments in New York State. So from the funding that we received through the federal government and Empire State Development, we have been able to then distribute $275,000 in micro grants to community startups, $1.26 million to New York State vendors advancing battery startup tech and manufacturing. And again, I'll go into more about these programs in later slides. $10 million towards coalition, so the New Energy New York Coalition programs and jobs. $92.8 million in research and development from businesses, partners, and projects across the ecosystem. We've been able to attract that. And $161.8 million has been raised by companies in the New Energy New York Innovation Program. So the companies that we support through our Clean Energy Incubator and some other various programs that I'll go into in a few minutes. We have also expanded our industry support. So this is a variety of different industries that we're either partnering with or are supporting the ecosystem. So you'll see names that you might recognize there. Corning Incorporated, Electrovaya, who's also giving a presentation today, Intertech, Raymond Corporation, BAE Systems, Cyanic, NYSEG, and Volta. So we not only have the presence in New York State, but we have an international presence in the battery industry. So we have been represented at the Battery Show North America through our New York State Pavilion with New Energy New York BEST, which is the New York Battery Energy Storage Technology Consortium, NYSERDA, and Empire State Development. We've also been at Battery Show Europe, has representation there last year and will be there again this year, and then Select USA in recent years. I also wanted to mention, as I talked about before, we are in the process of, through the grant that we received to form New Energy New York, we are building out a first of its kind facility in the US for prototyping and advanced manufacturing of cutting edge batteries, which is going to be called Battery New York. We are in the process of getting the facility up and running, and it's going to be, as this says here, the hub of New York energy storage, and doors will be open in Q4 2026. And as I mentioned earlier, Stanley Whittingham, who is the inventor of lithium-ion battery and Nobel laureate based at Binghamton University, has been hugely excited about this and recently brought on the executive director, Paul Malaban, with a length of experience in the industry to facilitate this. And it's going to be located right in Johnson City, which is right in Binghamton, for those that aren't familiar with the region. So again, those doors will be open in Q4 2026. Now I wanted to talk a little bit more about the programs under New Energy New York that startups and manufacturers can access. So some of the public resources around database, supplier qualifications, and company attraction is our Product Certification Accelerator Program. So this is a program that you can apply to. All this information is available on our website, which is neny.org. And this has a rolling deadline, but this will support up to $20,000 in reimbursements to New York State-based battery or energy storage companies to cover certification costs, so testing, documentation, consultants. And I know some of you might not necessarily be in the New York State ecosystem, but this is kind of a call to being more a part of that ecosystem, coming to New York, accessing some of the benefits through potentially some virtual membership to our incubators, or getting involved in the program that Andy is talking about in the other session, which is Charge Up. We also have a fantastic resource that our supply chain team put together, which is our supply chain database. That QR code will take you directly to the supply chain database. And what you see here is a little screenshot of the database. But this database currently has over 200 vetted companies in the battery and energy storage supply chain. You can search by product, services, and academic resources. It's a really fantastic resource if you're looking to see, I'm looking to come to New York State. I want to know if there is companies in the value chain that I need to be able to access and build out my resources. Fantastic. And we were able to fund that through the work with New Energy New York. Some of the other resources that you can access as part of the battery ecosystem for New Energy New York is with our partners at Empire State Development, who obviously gave us funding to be able to do a lot of this work, and NYSERDA. So for those that don't know, Empire State Development is really focused on clean tech, renewable energy, and advancing the manufacturing across the region. So some of the fantastic programs that I wanted to highlight today that support startups looking to work in the regional ecosystem are the Excelsior Jobs Program, Fast New York, which is Shovel Ready Grant Program, Innovation Development Support, and Strategic Workforce Development. If you just Google these, you'll definitely find them easily on their website. And then NYSERDA is regularly supporting New York's energy transition through innovation development or deployment and workforce. The PONs, so the Program Opportunity Notice, which is kind of another word for RFP or NOFO, are issued regularly to fund clean energy innovation, demonstrations, pilots, manufacturing scale-up, supply chain development, workforce, and market transformation initiatives. And we at New Energy New York, through our programs, have supported a lot of our startups in developing those applications and then receiving that follow-on funding in a significant amount. So that's another benefit of being part of the ecosystem. Now, I wanted to talk also about the programs under our entrepreneurship and innovation pillar. So this is really that startup support, de-risking, and commercialization. So one of the programs that you can also access under this is the Technical Assistance Program, which is up to $100,000, $75,000 for small startups with, I want to say 1 to 5 employees, and then it goes up to $100,000 if you're larger. But to support utilization of shared use prototyping, testing, and certification services and facilities in New York State. So we've awarded a significant amount of funding to startups and small to medium size manufacturers who are looking to utilize these prototyping and testing services, and then we essentially pay the vendors on your behalf so that you do not have to pay them to be able to move your TRL levels further. So that program is also available on our website, and we've had partners who are virtual members at our Kauffman Southern Tier Incubator also access that and utilize those services with New York State vendors. So one of the other programs that we fund through New Energy New York is the Clean Fight Capital Storage Challenge through one of our sub-awardees, Clean Fight in downstate or in New York City. They offer a program which is non-dilutive funding to support pilot projects, demonstrations, commercialization pathways for capital-intensive energy storage technologies in New York State. I would definitely take an opportunity to Google and see all the great work that Clean Fight is doing in advancing those technologies and supporting startups in the ecosystem. Activate Battery Fellows Program is another program that New Energy New York supports, which offers funding and fellowship support to advance battery and energy storage technologies from laboratory research across commercialization. So the Activate Fellows Program in general supports hard tech startups, but New Energy New York specifically focuses the Battery Fellows Program and funds that particular section of the Activate program. Another program that we support through the New Energy New York is the Regional NSF, which is National Science Foundation I-Corps Customer Discovery. I am actually a instructor for customer discovery through our regional hub. So we provide entrepreneurial training, customer discovery support to advance research innovations towards commercialization through the proven method at NSF. And you can also access follow-on funding with that. But for those that aren't familiar, typically there's teams of PhDs and professors looking at commercializing their technology and determining, is there actually a market demand, right? There's these fantastic technologies and research that comes out of their work, but is there anyone that really wants to buy it, right? What are their must-haves versus their like-to-haves? So we kind of walk them through that and start with them on that initial customer discovery phase. Okay, so more of the programs under the entrepreneurship and innovation pillar. We have, again, the Kauffman Clean Energy Incubator, which is a clean energy incubation program at our Kauffman Southern Tier Incubator, which provides support to help clean energy startups refine their business models, access resources, and advance towards commercialization at the incubator. And some of the investments that I mentioned on previous slides have come directly out of that program, helping startups to be able to access a significant amount of capital. Andy is currently talking about the NSF Charge Up Accelerator, which is primarily funded by the National Science Foundation, but we also support it through New Energy New York funding, which is a cohort-based accelerator program, mentorship and funding for early stage companies, and also has the ability to access follow-on funding at the end of the program. The student startup experience. So when I mentioned earlier that we've been able to give 1.3 million in stipends to students, this is a paid internship that places vetted and skilled students with clean energy startups to build workforce skills and support clean energy, early stage company development. So essentially, companies get the resources of students to work on projects and work with them throughout the semester and follow-on semesters. And the students get real-world experience. Students get paid, but they get paid by us, so the companies don't have to incur that burden. There's another program that internship program that we provide through New Energy New York, which is called Hatch. This is a credit-bearing semester-long internship with local startup companies in Broome County that are outside of the clean energy sector. So we're also looking at making this a good place to come and relocate your family and build your companies. So we want to make sure that the ecosystem is fully fleshed out all around. And there's a limited number of paid positions for upper level students. Okay, workforce development pillar. So this is where we're focusing upskilling and training programs. So some of the programs that we fund through New Energy New York in the ecosystem is with one of our subawardees, Broome Tioga Workforce. So they offer training to reduce barriers to employment and strengthen career readiness for individuals who are historically underrepresented in clean energy and advanced manufacturing. So this could be individuals through recidivism programs or coming back to the workforce, highly successful. They track the individuals, offer to be ombudsmen for them as they go through their practices, and really focus also on what I'm starting to call core skills, previously called soft skills, and making sure that those individuals are ready and able to contribute to the workforce. One of our other fantastic resources is our Battery Academy, which is a virtual progressive training platform that builds foundational knowledge and technical skills for careers in battery manufacturing and energy storage. So Battery Academy has been this course catalog that we have built throughout our time with New Energy New York. And recently, we have actually been able to launch courses, so brand new courses that are available to anybody outside of New York. Previously, you had to be in New York to access any of these courses, but we recently launched a battery basics and safety course. We will be launching a battery math course, lab scale battery manufacturing, core skills learning, and battery management systems essentials course in the next 2 quarters. So we're very excited about that. And then we have a cohort-based model under Battery Academy where you register for the virtual courses and then can be part of the SUNY Broome, which is our local community college, State University of New York, BTEC labs, which is then the hands-on labs that review the foundational battery concepts from Battery Academy's chemical and mechanical perspectives, build applied skills relevant to energy storage. So really, we're trying to think about making sure that we have an adequate workforce available for when companies want to come and be part of the ecosystem. RIT, which is the Rochester Institute of Technology, is also one of our subawardees, and through our funding, we support their battery seminar and facility tour. So RIT also has their battery development center. So this is a free 2-day expert-led seminar with hands-on experience in battery prototyping, and then a tour of the battery development center at Kodak Park, in which you get to build a battery. So it's fantastic for people like me who come more with a business management and fundraising background to understand really what goes into battery prototyping and development and see it hands-on. So anybody with a less technical background, it's fantastic for. Okay, also in workforce development, we offer a program at our local community college, Corning Community College, which is also a SUNY, so State University of New York. It's called our Manufacturing Tech Program. This is a hands-on technical manufacturing training aligned with regional industry, supporting skill development and job readiness. This program is oversubscribed and typically has 100% job placement upon graduation. So individuals go through 8 weeks of training, they receive a stipend, and then they are almost immediately hired by local manufacturers in the community. So it's been really fantastic. our local BOCES, which is continuing education and alternative education program at New Energy Lab, which is at the Shenango Forks High School, which is also in our ecosystem, provides early stage STEM-based workforce development through hands-on clean energy education and experimentation for high school students. A lot of the high school students who graduating from this program have also received job offers in the community, so it's highly successful. Another program we have with SUNY Broome, the community college, is the line worker training program. So this is technical training and skills development designed to prepare individuals for entry into electric line workers careers. And then we also have the Broome Tioga BOCES Summer STEAM Academy. So this is an experiential project-based summer learning program that teams up local engineers and other professionals with students to engage students in STEAM concepts and applied problem solving. So again, you can see all these programs are really focused out building on that workforce so that startups and manufacturers have the skilled workforce needed to be part of that ecosystem. And it is all funded through New Energy New York. And then we'll talk a little bit about the public resources around wraparound services and community engagement. So as I mentioned, this is really more focusing on that community, making sure it's a great place to live, work, and play, place-based economic development, so that when you do want to be part of this ecosystem, it is a well-rounded, holistic ecosystem. So we offer a 12-week accelerator program and a customer discovery crash course through the Kauffman Southern Tree Incubator that focuses on those less technical founders, helping them move through their business planning, go through the customer discovery phase, and refine their value propositions. One of our other partners that we fund through New Energy New York is another startup in one of the western counties, which is Incubator Works, and they have programs that focus on business plan building and another customer discovery and cohort-based training that guides entrepreneurs to early stage business development. So again, building out that well-rounded ecosystem. And then lastly, some of the other few programs that we fund through the community engagement pillar, more Incubator Works programs. So Incubator Works also has a makerspace, that's shared use prototyping space and equipment supporting early stage innovation through makerspace at the Incubator Works. I'll also mention that the Incubator Works in Steuben and Chemung County tends to serve underserved populations, rural, socioeconomic, lower socioeconomic groups. And so it's really kind of integrating people and letting them know about the resources available. They also have a youth entrepreneurship program, which focuses on experiential learning and introduces youth to business fundamentals and venture creation. We also have one of our subawardees, the Southern Door Community Land Trust, offers a community cafe, which is a structured community conversation designed to engage residents in the growing energy storage ecosystem. And that happens right in Broome County, which is where Binghamton University is located, as well as our MWBE Readiness Program that happens through the Kauffman Southern Tier Incubator, which is business development support to help minority and women-owned businesses to build capacity, pursue certification, and access procurement opportunities. And anybody who's ever received any state funding knows that there's typically an MWBE requirement for vendors. So again, we're building out that ecosystem and making sure those vendors exist in the region so that when you come and work in our ecosystem, you can meet those requirements. Carrie, did you have a question?
Yeah, just keeping an eye on the time. There might be a hard stop at 1 o'clock, Emily.
Okay.
So I
I've
just
only got a few more slides yet left.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So just flagging the time for you, but I didn't know if you wanted to take any questions, maybe since we have limited.
Sure. I also wanted to mention that we have, like I mentioned, the NSF Energy Storage Engine. So the resource is listed here on the, you'd be able to look at their website. Their mission is really transforming upstate New York into America's battery tech capital. So that's their service area. That's highlighted in green. And I mentioned earlier that we were recently given the Tech Hub designation by the federal government to focus on TRL levels 6 through 9. And so we're essentially taking our mission of America's battery ecosystem to advance domestic manufacturing and moving towards our vision of New York State to be the destination for advancing technology innovation workforce and delivering that globally competitive and economic resilient communities. And so that is our service area listed in green right there, and the dots are our various partners. So with that, I can stop sharing my screen. Or actually, you know what? I'll leave it up here in case anybody wants to book a meeting with me afterwards. You can scan that QR code.